Hello, everyone, and welcome back to lesson number 5, Media Literacy Competency. I am Dr. Yael Kirshenberg, and today we're going to focus on the first skill of media literacy, which is media access. This is one of the 5 media literacy skills we touched briefly in lesson number 1, Introduction to Media Literacy. Just a reminder, the 5 media literacy skills are the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, create media, as well as act upon what you have learned using all communication mediums. We will examine them closely and see some examples as well. You will be surprised how many people have no access to computers or the internet in this world in general, and how many people just don't know how to operate these things, let alone knowing what is required for this whole operation of connecting to the internet. This course is intended for all citizens of the world, so some or all of the information here may be very useful. Let's get started. When we talk about media access, we usually talk about the internet because it is the most prevalent media used nowadays. More and more people are using smart devices for information like news, services, entertainment, school, and more. TV and some reliable newspapers are still important sources of information, but our real focus, as I said, is the internet. So, in order to access the internet, one would need the following: the actual physical mediums, the digital software, the subscription, and the fee, the skills to do that. To go on the internet. And depending on where you live and the type of ruling you live under, access to media can sometimes be an issue. Finally, needless to say that people with different physical needs and disabilities will require different kinds of access to information. In 2016, the United Nations declared that internet access is a human right, and I'm quoting, "Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression, freedom to hold opinions without interference, and to seek, receive, and impart information through any media and regardless of frontiers." By the way, that recognition of such entity reinforces the importance of media literacy education everyone should acquire, in my opinion. So access to the internet in the global perspective should be deemed as a human right that, if deprived, it would be considered as an abusive act against humanity. Now, with on-the-air free broadcasting, or of course cable, people can still get a lot of information through traditional mediums, yet we're now talking more about internet access and the new mediums that are so vastly available for us today. So for example, we're talking about smart devices like tablets, cell phones, computers, laptops, even a smart wristwatch. All these are forms of media that enable us to go on the internet and access information. It is almost the case today that you cannot live without those mediums. So let's assume that you have to have at least one of those new mediums that will enable you to go on the internet. Forget about the wristwatch. It's really an accessory. Next, to access the internet, those devices need to be set up. For example, computers should be equipped with digital software. With no software, information cannot be retrieved. Um, Going on social media, retrieving email, browsing the web, getting different services, and so on. None of this will happen without application programs or digital data, digital audio, and digital video. These are the very, very basic and important elements that are needed in order to access and operate the internet. We don't think about them too much because someone else usually does it for us, but it is important to recognize, respect, and appreciate them for being such amazing advanced technologies that allow us to do so much and so widely. Once the computer is set up, you will need access to internet connection. You will need to purchase and subscribe to a network for your cell phone, computers, tablets, TV, etc. Those will require connection to networks like cables, signal towers, cell phone service networks, internet services, and so on. In addition, they all need to be connected to a network service plan that requires also subscription and monthly fee for the home internet service. You may even want to set up a home wireless network, commonly known as Wi-Fi, for the internet connection, and that will allow to connect multiple devices to the internet at the same time. Of course, computer skills are needed and necessary for anyone who wishes to get on the internet and make use of its many options. So first, a media user needs to learn how to access and use different mediums like a cell phone, a tablet, or a computer. Also, digital language is different from everyday language, and it should be acquired at least the basics of the digital language so that one can make smart use of their surfing of the internet. For example, words like cookies, phishing, bandwidth, broadband, among others, are important terminology to know and to be familiar with um, because it might save you some money, some time, and aggravation caused by misuse or misunderstanding of that language. Lastly, one should learn how to use different important applications like email, browsing the web, a photo application, nowadays banking online application as well, and governmental websites, since many institutions are moving to operate mainly online. And as a student, you will need to familiarize yourself and be skillful with Microsoft program, things like PowerPoint, Word, and others equivalent programs that help you function in the academic world that really cannot do without. Um, Access to media, internet in particular, can be a big issue in authoritarian states, like some countries in the Middle East, the Far East, South America. As part of their despotism, their hard ruling, dictators use the internet as a weapon and as an instrument to suppress citizens. Dictators exert censorship heavily to keep residents from accessing revolutionary content. They monitor, they repress, they spy, and restrict access to media, of course, with the help of new technology. What else? Those monarchs simply deprive their people of knowing what's happening inside and outside their world. Again, that's how they manage to prevent a possible act of resistance and unrest against their regime. Information can definitely be an eye-opening for those deprived groups of people. And I believe it is only a matter of time until people win that battle. Free and open access to media cannot be blocked forever. Once it exists, people will find a way to figure it out. Access to media and the free world is available to everyone. And among those, there are disabled people who will be limited in their access to the internet. The access to disabled people is therefore different. So, for example, someone who is visually challenged will be able to get an article or any information through an audio app. The hearing impaired, on the other hand, will be able to see closed caption. And so different disabilities will require different access to the internet. And that is a whole world in itself. Why is it important to have free access to media nowadays? Access to media has many advantages. One of the advantages we can see has to do with social value. In those dark societies, for example, whose regimes deprive them information, connecting with the world around them through the internet can be very important and very beneficial. The internet has also become a great space where the residents actually of a country can get formal and informal education in the developed and the developing world. People can educate themselves through the internet, even if their countries uh, don't support that kind of infrastructure. It also has a human right value where we're all equal in our deserving to know and to have access to information. Again, with knowledge, people can become confident, awaken, and demand change. The marginalized and the uneducated and the deprived may be able to change their fate through getting global ideas, connections, and information via access to the World Wide Web. Peace between countries can also be developed um, or achieved since the internet connects people, not governments necessarily. That global connection can manifest nowadays in many cities of different countries in the world, showing citizens expressing solidarity towards Black people in the US and their fight for equality. That would never happen if access was restricted in those places. That is the type of influence I'm talking about that might bring uh, peace, change, love, and brotherhood. That is all for today. Our next lesson is going to be about the next media literacy skills, which is analyze media. Until then, please stay safe.